Brr, brr, brr. It's cold this morning, you guys. What a beautiful fall morning. Sun's just rising, poking through the trees. I'm gonna start the day off by cooking a hearty breakfast here. We got bacon and eggs, hash browns with onions. I'll show you guys how we cook Cowboy coffee on the campfire. And then hopefully I can convince Amy to cook up some cinnamon buns in the cabin later on this evening on the wood stove, and they are delicious. So let's run to the coop. We'll grab some eggs from the chickens. I'll cut up some kindling, get the fire going, and let's get breakfast rolling. It is hot out here. All right, do you guys have any eggs for breakfast? Oh yeah, there's a few in here. All right, we got 5 eggs here, you guys. So that'll be enough for the coffee and breakfast. All right, let's get the fire going here, you guys. All right, we have the fire rolling here, guys. Let's get going on the Cowboy coffee. All right, so Cowboy coffee is extremely easy to make. All you need is a kettle, a pot. You could even use a tin can, soup can, whatever you have. Just make sure it's not going to melt on the fire. So just take some nice, clean, fresh water. Fill the kettle up. I'm going to throw a couple cups in here. Always save enough for afterwards. I'll show you that step in here in a few minutes. Take your coffee. I don't measure nothing. Just scoop away here, eyeball it, whatever you think. Making a bit of a mess, but we're outside, so that doesn't matter. So that'll be good for coffee. And then back in the olden days, out on the range, the cowboys used to always take an egg, you crack it, and then you even crush up all the shells. So these are farm fresh eggs. I did wash it, so don't panic. Put the shells in, take a spoon, whisk it up. And then the reason for the egg apparently is it's supposed to take down all the acid and make the coffee extremely smooth tasting. And it does work. So just put the egg and shells in there. Put our lid on. And then our fire's rolling good here, so we'll sit it down here on the grill. Put it right there until it starts boiling. Alright guys, so we have our coffee on the fire, waiting for that to boil. We're gonna get our bacon in the pan here, and then we'll bring this over to the grill. Once the bacon is cooked, we'll take it out of the pan, we'll throw it on the corner of the grill, that way the smoke gets all into the bacon. We'll use the grease to cook the hash browns, and so actually let's start cutting up the potatoes and the onions, get that all prepped and ready to go here. All right, we're just gonna cut the potatoes nice and thin, that way they cook fairly quick on the grill. Slice and dice. So yeah, I'm not a chef, so I'm not real speedy at this, and I don't want to cut my fingers off. There, the potatoes are all sliced up. I'm just gonna put this to the side, and then we'll start on the onions. Whoa. You definitely want lots of onion. That's always the best part. These onions are right out of the garden, so they have so much flavor. All right, you guys, so like most men, I cannot stand doing dishes. So I need a spatula. Let's just carve one out here quick. All right, this piece will work perfect. We'll just carve down the bottom here a little bit. There we go, 30-second spatula. Bacon's starting to smell really good, starting to cook. Oh yeah, the coffee's boiling, you guys, so let's get it off the fire here. All right, next step, you take half a glass of cold water, just pour it in there, and this will drive all those coffee grounds and eggshells right to the bottom. Put your lid back on if you have one, and we'll just throw it back on the fire for maybe a minute. All right, coffee's been on for about a minute. Let's test it out. Nice and clear, no coffee grounds, no eggshells. And the true test. Oh, that's so good. It is hot. Hawk, are you waiting for breakfast? All right, bacon is ready to come off. I don't like crispy bacon at all. So let's get this off or out of the pan. And we're just gonna sit it right here on the corner. Hopefully it doesn't fall through. And then this way the smoke will go up through the bacon, give a nice smoky flavor. All right, we still have lots of nice grease in the pan here. So it's time to cook some onions and hash browns. All right, I'm just gonna add some bear lard to the bacon grease here. Add flavor plus a little more grease. That will melt down here in a second. Take our onions. That pan is super hot. Throw a glove on here. And then we'll add our potatoes. Let's give this a little mix. And back onto the fire. Alright guys, so Nash just came out and apparently we didn't cook enough bacon. He's a grown teenage boy, so we gotta throw on a bunch more here. Alright guys, hash browns are cooking really nice here. They smell amazing. The onions are just popping in there. So let's give the Nash's bacon a little stir too. It's not quite there. It's barely even cooking right now. Let's move it over in the flame here a bit more. All right, guys, hash browns are soft. They're done, cooked. Let's get our bacon back in the pan here, and we'll just carry it over to the countertop and get our eggs frying here. All right, guys, so let's crack these fresh farm eggs here. Shells can just go in the fire. We'll cook up all 4 here. And then let's get the cast iron pan back on the fire. We'll cook these eggs and then it'll be breakfast time. All right, you guys, all this stuff is cooked. Let's get it off the fire here. Ooh, that's hot. All right, guys, check this out. It smells amazing. Let's get it all plated up here. All right, guys, check these platters out. It's time to eat. Nash is starving. Let's dig in. That's so good, you guys. Breakfast turned out amazing. I'm going to get this down into the belly here, and then we'll start doing some chores.
So typical Joe and Nash, we're craving some cinnamon buns after dinner. So I'm going to whip up a quick batch. I have my couple cups of flour, sprinkle of sugar, and a little sprinkle of salt in here. My yeast is rising over there by the fire. So I'm just going to wait 5 minutes and mix her up.
Oh, that's hot.
All right, so I just grabbed our yeast mixture. So you can see it's all bubbly, how we want it. And again, that was just a tablespoon of dry yeast, a sprinkle of sugar, and some lukewarm water. So I'm gonna add this to our flour. And I have some pork lard here that I melted. I didn't want to dirty a whole pot, so I found this handy little tin pan. So I'm gonna add that. I had some warm water heating on the stove there, so I'm going to add about a cup of that. All right. And I think for this batch, I don't always add egg, but it kind of makes a richer dough. So I think for something different, I have a farm egg here. I'm just going to crack that in. Now we keep our eggs on the counter because when I collect them from the coop, I don't wash them. So if you have eggs that are collected directly from a coop, you don't have to wash them and they can stay on the counter for like a month. All right. And again, folks, I don't use a recipe, so I just wing it every time, and each batch turns out a little bit different.
No.
This is looking good. I think we might be done kneading it here.
What are you doing? And continue.
Okay, and here's a little bit of pork lard. We're just going to grease our bowl with, again, so that as it's rising, the dough doesn't stick. Okay. Just like so. Here's a clean dish towel, and we're gonna just go set it up by the stove. This will take about an hour to rise. Okay, so our dough's been rising for about an hour here. Gave me some time to get some dishes done, get Joe's lunch made for the week. All right, let's plop this out here. So we're making cinnamon buns. So we need to get a nice rectangle type shape. Alright, so I'm gonna cook them in this smaller cast iron because I only did a single batch. I have my handy air fryer liners. This one fits like perfectly in here, so I don't need to grease the pan at all. We need our butter, cinnamon, all right, so we have our butter, cinnamon, sugar. I'm gonna take a nice clump of this. I set it by the wood stove for a bit just to soften it, make it easier to spread. Next, we have our brown sugar. Let's give it a good sprinkle. The boys always have a sweet tooth, so they like lots of sugar in it. A little bit more. All right. And then last, you got our cinnamon. So you give that a cover. Make sure we get it all. All right. Okay, so our cinnamon buns are ready to go on the stove. Just gonna set them there for a second while I get ready. So I have some nice hot coals going again. I'm gonna try and keep it that way. I don't want them to burn. And I think put that guy there. Maybe start with this and see how it goes. If they start to get too crispy on the bottom, we'll have to lift them up a little bit more. I'm going to put this cast iron lid on there just to kind of create an oven inside. And we'll let her cook up.
No. No. Stop the video. You're not posting that. Turn it off.